You thought it was over, but it's not. European and UK natural gas prices broke their records again. And then they dropped for like a day or two. And now today they've broken their records again. So welcome back to the podcast. Once again, everybody, PayPal and Patreon links are both down below for anybody who wants to support me. Only do so if you actually can, obviously. But thank you if anybody does. So the European energy situation overall hasn't been going too good, but in particular their natural gas prices at the moment are pretty sky high, having already broken records by getting up towards $40 per thousand cubic feet before falling back down. That was earlier this year, or earlier this fall rather. Now they're approaching $50 per thousand cubic feet. I believe at the moment they are both right around 47, maybe 48, which is absolutely absurd and mind-numbing. U.S. natural gas prices, for example, at the moment are around 4. They were at a high point up around 5 or so earlier this year, and the highest they've ever been, I believe, was up between like $14 and $16 per thousand cubic feet. So what's going on here? What has brought all of this about? A combination of various things. Europe, or at least many nations in it, have been really going hard, committing to the whole wind and solar only pathway of things, and that left them with a decent energy deficit this summer, as there was way less wind and sunlight than they would have otherwise hoped for. So they had an energy deficit that they had to fill by firing up their emergency natural gas plants, which obviously upped their natural gas demand over the summer. And the summer is normally when natural gas storage inventories build up, because obviously more natural gas is used during the winter because of heating. So normally there's more natural gas available than is being used during the summer. So that gets pumped into storage and inventories build up. And then you draw off of the inventories over the course of the winter. Well, for many nations in Europe, the inventories did not reach nearly where they otherwise would have on a normal year, because of the increased need for natural gas usage during the summer, because of the energy deficit, which was even more heavy-handed on the natural gas, because many European nations are now closing all of their coal plants, and Germany has been shutting down all of its nuclear plants. Very, very dumb. But okay, Deutschland, you do you, I guess. So at the start of the colder months of the heating season, many nations' inventories were not where they should be. And they've been getting drawn down pretty rapidly because it's gotten pretty cold for Europe at the moment. And on top of that, winter sunlight is pretty useless. Although solar PV for power generation altogether is pretty useless and kind of a resource waste. But regardless, winter sunlight is pretty useless for power generation. So it would primarily be wind at the moment. However, wind levels have dropped significantly again. So now on top of their heating demand, they are again across the continent seeing elevated natural gas usage for power generation because of the energy deficit. And no, because I know comments are going to try to suggest that electric heating would solve the problem. No, it wouldn't, because if you paid attention to the last few sentences, there is an energy deficit. Electric heating needs that electricity, of which there's a deficit that now has to be filled by the natural gas. And the more steps between things that you have, converting one form of energy to another, gas to electricity, then electricity to heat, that loses efficiency over the course of it. But tossing that issue aside, the situation is pretty bad. A number of European nations' inventories are plummeting down. Some are down to around 3/4 or 2/3 full. Some are down to around only like half full, and a number of the others are heading down there pretty quick behind them, with the primary exception being Poland, Polska, which is pretty dependent on coal-fired power generation, so they have not actually been too affected. And then, making things a little bit worse, Russia is holding back on the extra natural gas pipeline deliveries it promised, trying to economically force Germany's hand to complete the Nord Stream pipeline. But anyways, that's it for this one. So thank everybody for sticking around and listening. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. Patreon and PayPal links are both down there if you want to support me. Only do so if you actually can, obviously. But may God bless and protect you all, and I will see you all around next time.